Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Manman, your host for the next couple hours, along with Spence.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's really cold here today.
Yeah, I can see. Oh,
Yes.
Apex is really bad.
It's dark here and it's snowing. I don't know what it's like by you.
It's all right.
morning.
And Gal is here.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Nick is here.
It's sunny here. I mean, I don't know what's going on with you, Spence. I mean, I'm going to the beach after. It's 95 degrees here.
Nick, wake up. You're dreaming, Nick. Wake up.
Oh, sorry. It's
Yeah, wake up. Wake up.
47 is what I meant to say.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And this morning's show is made possible by vMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. And Mike is in the ocean as we speak at Myrtle Beach. And I'll leave
He's
you with
dipping-
that.
dipping
I'll leave you guys with that picture in your head.
Dipping his toes in the ocean.
He's down there on some, what is it, Nick? Some kind of festival?
Yeah, there's a beach music
Beach music, that's right.
show going on down there. So he's down there for that.
So he's having
As
fun.
long as it's not the same as biker weekend, he'll be fine.
Well, Mike did drive his Harley down there.
He did. Okay. I was there once for bikers weekend. This is a while ago before it got real big, but it was scary. Just noisy all night long.
Scary.
Have you ever been there for 4th of July?
You're a racist.
Actually, I have been there for 4th of July. Yeah, I think I was there for 4th of July.
It was like
this year.
Do
or
you know
last
the
year.
movie Apocalypse Now?
No.
Well, it was a Vietnam War movie where they had this one scene going up this river where they came to this bridge where it was like future war with just bombs going off and missiles firing back and forth at each other. That's what 4th of July was like at Myrtle Beach. Literally, people just shoot. Illegal to shoot fireworks off there, but people did it anyway. So we're out on the beach watching this whole spectacular of fireworks, and somebody shoots off a rocket and it goes into the window of an open hotel room on a balcony.
Ooh.
Wait, it's illegal to shoot fireworks in Myrtle Beach?
Myrtle Beach.
Are you-
City of Myrtle Beach, no fireworks.
Well, why the hell do they have stores that sell them?
Well, they don't sell them in the city. They sell them just outside the city.
How long ago was that?
Oh, it's been in effect. This is 20 years.
Because they've got stores on in North Myrtle Beach. They've got stores.
Not the city of Myrtle Beach, not North
I
Myrtle
see
Beach.
what you're saying. I got you.
There's a signs as you come into the city as if fireworks are illegal.
So you just drive exactly 3.5 minutes outside the city and go to the Phantom
pretty much.
Fireworks store.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Effective government at its finest.
It's what can we say about
nothing
the mentality? Oh well.
So, what else had happened this week that anybody wants to talk about?
Nothing earth-shattering.
I'm trying to think technology-wise.
So, did you guys hear that there are universities around the world that are offering their courses online for free, or at least partially free?
Are they U.S. universities or foreign universities?
It's all over the world. So,
okay.
These courses are collectively called MOOCs. Moocs. or massive open online courses.
Hmm.
In the past 6 years or so, over 800 universities have created more than 10,000 of these Moocs, and they've been keeping track of these Moocs the entire time over at class-central, class-central.com. So you can go there and see. Ever since they rose to prominence, so it's ever from the beginning until today, they're keeping record over there, and like, I don't know if it's scheduled. In the past 4 months alone, 190 universities have announced 600 such free online courses. That is nice if these courses are actually beneficial. I mean, they're beneficial because you're learning, but are practical and not like resistance, you know.
I kind of doubt they're credit bearing. They're probably audit classes because
Well,
the reason they collect tuition is so you can get it credits and get a degree, right?
right. Yeah.
So this is probably just, and it's like opening it up to people who are just going to audit the classes. Oh, I learned something, but can't apply it to an actual degree.
I mean, but if you can learn and
Oh, yeah,
take that into the class as knowledge, hey. And there are a lot of people that don't go to college, never
Yeah,
went to
so I
college, and they can take it. Go ahead.
I just opened the site and looked at it. So it depends on who's providing the course, and when there is a certificate, so there's called paid certificate available. You can take the course for free, and then you can pay to be
To get the
tested
total, like
to
to
do
get
the
the credit.
process of getting the credit. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to pay for a testing and certification.
Yeah. So
Well, this is whatever.
because that involves humans who need to check your work, right? So, but yeah, interesting.
Oh, but it's an interesting marketing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you do a good job, word spreads by word of mouth. And
Yeah, they have like this Class Central. It's like a whole Amazon for these courses. There's like reviews and everything, and people who have taken it. It's interesting.
do they
Definitely
have the
take a look.
course on how to make money on the internet?
No,
Like
but the
you pay-
first course looks like a very, very effective one. The first one I'm seeing is how to learn. How to learn. No, I like how to study effectively on your own. It's yeah, it looks interesting.
What's the famous university that the guy started online? Cramden?
Khan Academy.
Khan Academy. That's it. Yeah,
Khan, yeah.
I was very impressed with what they were doing.
Yeah, they're still doing it. It's an
Still
amazing.
doing it, yeah.
It's an amazing project. But that's for elementary. That's for starting learning.
Oh, it's not just elementary.
No, it's but it's like it covers everything. That's what I mean.
I mean, I used it through Calc 2. There were the breakouts of how to solve problems and through Calc 2. I'm sure it goes further than that, but that's how as far as I used it.
Yeah.
So are these universities in danger of being demonetized and stripped from YouTube? Have you been following the controversy with PragerU?
On and off for months.
It's still going on. I mean, I just watched a very recent interview or lecture that Dennis Prager gave. It was probably an hour and a half, but talking about what was going on with him and his just ridiculous. I mean, just outrageous how they can be so singled out when other people say things that are just so inflammatory and outrageous, and they get, oh, no problem, thank you, good video. And his stuff, which is, it depends on your point of view whether you consider it inflammatory or not. But for the most part, it is just, here's what's happening. We're not really necessarily expressing an opinion.
Well, I mean, we know
eye of the beholder. So
we know how YouTube is and Google is, and you know. least, I mean,
Well,
talking about being deplatformed and banned and all that, GAB is back.
it's back,
Eh,
but it's not right yet.
what?
I've been trying to use it, and it's still not back up to the ease of performance. I mean, I'm glad they're back, believe me.
Yeah.
But
Slow.
before it was really accelerating, and they had a lot of new subscribers, and it was very busy, and everything was working very well from a posting perspective, and now there are things about it that are really slow, and so
Really?
they're still feeling, yeah. It's I'm using it. I mean, and I'm watching it, but it's not the ease of use. I think they're still working out some kinks. But I would encourage people to go there and use it. They need support.
Well, since it came back, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 41 new requests or follows. And
Yeah, the site kind of bops up and down. I'll go to it and then I'll get a Cloudflare error. There's still some problems with it.
yeah. Hopefully they'll be able to stay. I can't understand why they don't just move to some provider in Europe and somewhere where even in Russia, because it
Oh,
makes no
no.
difference. It makes no
Well,
difference.
Amnon, think about what they'd say about that.
It doesn't matter. They're
Or is
already
it not?
saying it.
Absolutely.
But I think that they said that they found a provider who's very much into free speech and in line
Yeah,
with what they're
right.
trying to do. But still, the articles that you see, the attack, they're just constantly being attacked, even now that they're back, and saying that, oh, this is just a hellhole for
Yeah.
white supremacists. It's crazy how if they're if they're so inconsequential. This is the irony of the whole thing. If they mean nothing, why are they being attacked so much?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
That's the thing.
So the point is that there's a actual coordinated attack against them to basically make them go away, and it's being done by
On big scale.
on a big scale by the big boys.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in the background that most people aren't aware of, unfortunately, that is not good. But it's the fact that we know about it is good anyway.
Right. Exactly. The fact that we know and it serves somebody's purpose. And go figure out
Yep.
how. And oh no, we're not to the left or to the right, but we kick the right all the way, all the time. Yeah. Okay. But listen
But
to this. What? Go ahead, God.
let me ask a technical question.
Yeah.
Right. So GAB is about free speech, or at least that's
Well-
what one side is saying, and the other side is saying they're a cesspool of fanatic right wings. So if one thing that has failed until today is creating a social network that is completely decentralized. Right? There've been many attempts. None of them really caught on. There's Diaspora, if you've ever heard about that, which is a very interesting project. And the whole idea is that this social network will work pretty much like old school peer-to-peer sharing networks where nodes will connect to other nodes and what they will transfer the queries and information across, right? And then so when you connect to a hub that you're connected to, and that hub can be on your home server, or it can be on your friends, or it can be some hosting service that you pay for. But all of them form a mesh of a single network. That hasn't caught on.
But who was it who just made a big proposal to do this recently? There was one of the founders of
the guy that invented quote unquote the internet wanted to come up with
one
a
of the
new
original
version.
one of the original designers. Yeah, but he wants to create a new internet that's got that is, like you say, Gal, decentralized.
Yeah,
But
I read
who
this proposal.
administers it? That's the thing.
That's the thing.
So-
The whole idea of decentralization is no administration. That's the whole idea of blockchain, of Bitcoin, right? There's no centralized control.
Or blockchain with being with,
Yeah, but
with
somebody there's
protecting
got
the integrity of the transaction.
no. There has to be some coordination. I mean,
Well, so this is the one guy. You ever heard of Mastodon before?
Mastodon?
Do some searching into Mastodon. That's the most popular, successful version of what you're describing. So the way Mastodon works, for people that are trying to follow this conversation, so every community per se, like Computers 2K Now would have their own social network. It would be like mastodon.computers2know.com. Amnon would be the administrator for our social network. He would be our administrator, and other social communities, other social groups, maybe the Infection Podcast would connect to Amnon, and it's a big peer-to-peer link. So you just interconnect to other communities, but so each community per se has got a group of administrators, but there's not one. For example, Amnon, if I own my own Mastodon site and you own yours, you cannot delete content from mine. Now you can block me from all of your listeners and your audience,
right?
But you can't delete my content. It's on my Mastodon.
This sounds like 4chan with a better interface.
No, well, it's not necessarily 4chan because the way
this is nothing new, guys. This is the way that FidoNet used to work back in
bulletin boards.
Yeah, bulletin boards.
Yeah.
When we came up with what we called Echo Mail back then, that's how it would work. There would be a local network in whatever geographical area, small, and then there will be a regional hub that all these local networks connect and send the mail there. Then that regional will connect to a national hub, and everybody will connect to the national hub and get it from there. You could connect to each regional and get it from there too, if you had a problem. So but you have to have a coordinated. Somebody has to coordinate on the local level, on the regional level, on the national level, so there's no duplication, and it's not just being kept busy because of getting the same information again and again. It's doable. There's no doubt that it's doable, and you're right. There is no way to cut somebody off, because if you cut somebody off, they go somewhere else, and they get it from there, and they send through there. Unless, I mean, there were a lot of rules back then, but none of these rules were actually enforced. I was the coordinator for the southeast region, and there would be on paper there were a lot of things that I should have done to stop some people from doing it. But you can't. I mean, it's not right to do it, because you say, well, the whole idea here is to move ideas and email and stuff between people. So no, don't do it. Nobody's getting hurt. You don't want it, don't read it.
And let's look at what the main reason why we have a centralized version of that today, right? Facebook, Twitter. Why? It's to monetize it. It's to take that the people and make them advertising sheep, right? And to take and to sell their information to somebody. So if you could get it back to the point where you remove that goal, it'll be a lot smaller potentially. But
I don't think it'll be small.
Well, I mean, like when you put something out on Twitter, the whole Twitter universe can see it easily.
Yeah.
If you put something on your own, what would you want to? How would you want to describe the subset of that your interest group has?
Mm-hmm.
The only people who are going to see it are the people in your interest group, right? So the point of having the availability of Twitter is that you can put it out there, and anybody who can retweet, and it's out there, and a lot of people see it. So news organizations. I want to see this happen, but at the same time, it's like if your idea behind this is to get information out there and to try to
The idea-
educate people,
Yeah,
then it's
to move it.
yeah.
You-
Right.
you-
But what happened? So you're right that this is how it is today, right? But do remember that it didn't start this way, right? These
Oh no, I
two
realize, yeah.
these two small projects, right? They started as something that in a tech world where everything cool might have some use later, right? It started by people who were enthusiastic about the idea of sharing, and those who joined these networks at the beginning, right? They didn't join because they can market something. They joined because they can finally interact with their peers and their peers' peers, right? It became a way of just more effective communication. So because everybody assumes this needs to stay free, right? Monetization, and especially if you're using a centralized system, monetization steps in and says, yeah, there has to be some way of, one, either just keeping this afloat, and two, making a profit so it can grow, right? And that's where Google is, and that's where Facebook is. It's all about pushing you advertising because that's the way to monetize things. So what happens if you take the platform, right? And I think that's the main problem. It's because it's very technical. It's a very technical ideology. But let's take the platform, right? And make the platform something that you either choose to pay for or not, whether it's you maintain your own server because you're technical enough, you do it your own, you roll your own, or you buy hosting somewhere eventually, or you hook up to a hoster who will give it to you for free, but will advertise. But the advertising will be localized, right? What happens then? I think the problem is today is, one, there's this technological barrier, right? And that is why free speech, like completely free speech, even with the fringes who create a lot of noise, that is why free speech does not exist yet. Uh, and I'm guessing that the reason it is not adoptable yet, right? Because this, as Nick said, there are a lot of decentralized social networks out there. I haven't heard about that one. I've heard about Diaspora when they started working on it. I'm looking at the Wikipedia. They call it distributed social network. There are a bunch of those. There's a comparison there. I'm guessing none of them can get the traction. I mean, look at Google with all the money they had, right? They tried to build their own centralized social network, and it was a failure. Such a failure that they're going to pay billions of dollars in GDPR fines because of messes in that social network that were left behind because nobody uses it, so nobody even tracks it, right? So how do we educate the people who do want to advocate for free speech and share their kids' photo, right? And tell them, look, it's worth it for you to either pay a penny or learn how to build your own server and connect to a network where everyone can communicate.
Well, how about you offer different levels of either filtering? You say, I want to sign up for a family level experience that says that and you have to opt in or opt out for what you're going to see. Right now, you really don't have a lot of control. They give you marginal control to make you feel like you're getting some control. Like I can not unfriend this person, but I can block what they say, or things like that. When you don't realize all the blocking they're already doing to you, you're not aware of the stuff you don't see because you don't know. But so what about having where you can actually set up your experience to say, all right, I want family level filtering. I have children in this age group. I don't want to see the following subjects. These are the things I want to reinforce.
Wishful thinking.
What I'm saying, I
How
wish
would you
it was
categorize
possible.
it?
That's the
source
thing.
creator categorizes the content.
Exactly. So that's why having your own personal one, where you could say, here are the attributes for the one that I built. I welcome people to join, but this is what you're going to get. And if you want to have one that's wide open and anything goes, then people need to know that. And then you have one that said this is a family friendly one that's got we don't do here are the things we don't talk about and we filter.
So that's
So
the
be
cool thing
aware of
about
that.
Mastodon is, and I've used it a little bit. The No Agenda show has got has got one, and that's the only one that I've ever used. So the way that it works is, I think they call it federation or federating
Yeah.
other communities into yours. So Spence, if you had a large enough family where you could essentially create your a social network for your immediate family, then you, as your system administrator, would would select what other communities you are going to federate your timelines with. So if you don't want any political nonsense on your on your family's timelines, you just wouldn't federate with any of those communities. Maybe you'd find Gal's community or whatever else. Um, that's kind of the only way I see something like that happening and working. Is you have to be your own system administrator, and then you need to connect with other people. That's the only way to do it.
IBM had an interesting idea. They had a product, I think it's still around, called Same Time. And Same Time was started out as an internal chat that was part of the Lotus family of email and all this stuff. But what they did was they allowed federation with other companies. If you were a Same Time user and you had a Same Time community inside your company, you could federate to other companies. So
Bingo.
now you could send text messages. You had your own internal side, but you had an external view, and you could share on an external server with I could send chats or I could send messages to people inside of IBM from my company. So and that was it was moderated to an effect where they controlled who would do it. But it was a good idea. And it was you had a common interest, which was technology. We were talking about the main reason it was there is not to say, hey, are you available for lunch? Is to say, I have a question about one of your products. Can you answer my question? So, but it was nice
Yeah.
because you could see that when the messages would come in, you'd see if they were coming from internally or outside.
If anybody wants to see a live example of one of these, if you can go sign up at noagendasocial.com. There's one there, but again, it turns into a real closed community because there's only so many people on that network. So it's kind of an interesting concept. But again, as Gal said, how do you convince a non-tech person to do this? And unfortunately, I think the answer is you don't.
Yep.
'Cause it just doesn't make sense.
So
Yeah.
that's why I think GAB doesn't make sense as a sustainable platform, because it's never going to pull in, right, the moms and dad who just want to share their kid's picture.
Oh no,
And that
Lord
is
no.
why no, but that's the thing. That's why Facebook is so effective as a medium for political manipulation, right? Because everyone is there.
Oh,
GAB will
absolutely.
only host those who want free speech. So that's all automatically, right? Those are the fringes because they are blocked everywhere else. So it's just a location where all the guys and girls who wants to shout at one another, they'll go there. But it's not an effective medium, and that's the problem. I'm not advocating anyone who tries to shut them down. I'm just saying, as an idea, that is the flaw. That is the problem. That is why it will never be a Facebook. That is
Well, the reason why
social medias are just like apps, though. I mean, you live and you survive on a user base, and unless you amass enough user base, it's not sustainable. That's anything in
yeah,
in
that's true. But
this new age of apps and websites and blog. If you don't sustain a decent user base, you're DOA.
it was really exciting the last 6 months on GAB to see what was happening and to see how much it accelerated, to see how many people were leaving Twitter and coming over.
Yeah.
And it was everybody. It wasn't just people that I ideologically agree with. And there were some people who were banned on Twitter who came over too, big names that brought with them a whole bunch of followers. And it was really, I think it was going in the right direction as far as what the intention was there for, and then it got blown up, and it was just
And I mean, this is just like, a big train that is rolling, and then something happens and it has to stop in order to get back to the right speed. It takes time and it's uphill. They'll get there as
oh, I
long as
realize
they
that,
don't
but
get
the
banned again.
momentum for
Yeah.
people who were looking, if somebody went over there now and said, I'm interested in free speech and I want to get over there, unless they had somebody really encouraging them, I think they'd probably get a little frustrated. And I'm sorry that would happen. It was at the point just before the blow up happened, they had really gotten a lot of things to work very well. And
I
so
mean,
they definitely lost ground. I
but
mean, I'm sorry that happened.
Spence, it's the same software, it's the same user base. They just moved it somewhere else. That
They
did not
did,
change.
but if you went there now and you were a user right up until the time it went
Yeah.
off the air, you will see a difference just in the speed of the way
I don't
things
know.
work. I'll go in, I'll log in, and it will say no posts. And it'll show only way I can see anything is to click on my own history. And
Interesting.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I did.
So there are issues, and I think just having to move what they had, they had tuned it. I know they said they're hiring some engineers and all that, and I want it to work. I'm
Give
not trying to scare anybody off of it. I'm just
No, I
saying
mean,
they need our support.
people
Here's
should.
here's part of the problem I see with Gab. I'm not a very active Gab user. I try to use it from time to time, and that's a problem because I log in right now, Spence, and I haven't used it really. I haven't used it frequently since it launched. So all of the users that I followed when I launched, hardly any of them are active anymore. So I log into my timeline now, and there's no content. And I frankly don't feel like rummaging through the website to find it.
Well,
So
what's
that's
happened,
a
what was
problem.
good that happened is that as it grew, um, you didn't have to go in and put in a hashtag anymore. They actually created groups, so you could click on different trending
Categories.
subjects and go in and find what's going on there and post there, and everybody saw your post because you were posting in that group.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to. Earlier, you had to know, oh, what's a popular hashtag? I have to find it. So they did a good job of trying to make the interface easier. But you're right. But I tend to find obscure news stories, and that's what I was posting on Gab. And in the last 2 months before this all happened, I went from having like 13 followers to 300 and something followers.
What is your name on there?
Blown Gasket.
But you touched an interesting thing, right? If you look at stats of social networks, what is the main stat that makes people stay in a social network?
Likes.
No, the amount of
Views.
friends, the
Yeah.
amount of
Oh, yeah.
friends, the amount of connections. If you have 50 or more connections, actual
Right.
connections, right, then you'll probably return to there. But if not, then it'll die off after like 2 to 3 weeks.
Exactly, because that's what feeds people.
Right.
I'm already following you.
So the reason you are returning there is you said you already have 300 followers, right?
Well, no,
But
I was
Nick
I
probably
was
doesn't
going
have.
when I had 20 followers.
I'll have you know that I have 2,302 followers on Gab.
Nice.
But all of these followers are from the day that the site came out.
Yeah,
and
right.
most of these people are not active anymore. I'm on. I
Okay.
just refreshed the homepage.
Well,
I mean, I know it's still early on the West Coast, but the most recent post was Amnon posting on his Nissan on his account that Computers 2K Now started 25 minutes ago. That's the most recent post on my timeline. If I have Twitter pulled up right now, I've got 5 different Twitter streams on TweetDeck. Each stream shows me.
yeah, you can.
Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't find the most recent, the oldest post I can see by looking at my timeline is 52 seconds ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
that you still can compare the two.
Well, you can't compare, but
Yeah.
you need to compare because
Yeah,
this is what
you
they're
need-
trying to be.
Right, but you need to give it time. And I guess controversies drive Gab into getting more and more and more and more people. I think a lot of people got tired because Gab got kicked around from one place to another, and they say, okay, now what's going to happen? Another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and we're going to have. So yeah, it is discouraging for a lot of people, but I believe that it'll come back to. I mean, I remember getting on it and putting. I always post about the shows, and I said, well, did I tell him that? And I mean, 10 minutes in, I would scroll back, and I can't find it. It was buried like pages down because there was
Hmm.
so much. And we're talking only like what, a month ago? So it's okay. I mean, I've got faith that they will keep on going and grow, and the momentum will come back, Spence. It's a good thing to have, even if it wasn't just for. I mean, on Twitter, how does it go? From the trees, you can see the forest, or the other way, from forest, you can see the trees. How does it go? There's just too many posts. It's just like some chats that you log into a show somewhere, and the chat is just scrolling as fast as it can. You can't read anything. You can't see anything. You can't follow anything. I don't understand even why people bother sitting there and
Yeah.
typing, because
The, the
nobody's going
Twitch
to read
chat
it.
room.
So you get to the point where too much is also not good, unless you have a way to categorize it and break it to uh certain threads or whatever, like next token TweetDeck or any other program that can do that. Then, and the other downsides to GAB is they still don't have an app that a lot of people just want to go either to Google or to the Apple App Store to get their um, apps, and
Yep.
they don't have that. They were banned.
That is I will continue to hold the opinion that unless they ever get over their Google and Apple Store bans, they will never succeed. I mean, you can't have a
Yeah.
social network that doesn't have an app. I just that's I just don't see how that's possible.
But here's the reason why social networks like Gab are so good. Take a look at the picture I have a screen capture of. Where else are you going to see this?
Yeah, well, but the thing again is that it's the same thing that needs to happen to the App Store that we're talking about, that needs to happen to decentralize. I mean, I don't think Gab will ever get over that problem if the problem is still we need to get into Google App Store. We need to get into the Apple App Store. They banned them, and they're going to fight them tooth and nail, and they're not going to let them in. What we need is an app store that is popular, that is safe, that is
That's not possible, Amber.
I know. You see, that's wishful
Yeah,
thinking again.
But no, it's physically impossible. You cannot have an app store on iOS. That's just not an option.
What do you mean you can't have an app
You
store
can't.
on?
You
An
can't have a
alternative one.
third-party app store. Apple controls the ecosystem. I mean, you can't. That's not wishful thinking. It's technically impossible. Apple does not allow side loading of apps on their devices.
Oh,
So there's no. You are absolutely at the whim of Google and Facebook. Now, Google, you can install an APK. It's relatively easy.
yeah, but people won't, unless they're really technical, they will not do it.
No, I disagree. I mean, they've got a really easy guide on their website on how to do it. It's not hard, but you've got to be willing to do it.
Yeah. The only thing we can do is try to help them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Looks like
look,
Gab.
I entered something in Gab, and about 5 minutes ago, I think, about the fact that we're discussing Gab, and there's already 19 new posts on the.
Yeah. See, that's because you're following a whole bunch of people.
I guess.
see. I'm following
So
110 people. I
I
got
mean,
2,300
I got
followers.
to the point that it doesn't hurt. So if somebody follows Computers 2K now or Amnon, I
You
follow
follow
them.
them.
I mean,
Yeah.
I go and I check it,
Yeah.
and most of them, I mean, 99%, I follow back. Why not? I mean, if you're trying to help it grow,
Of course. Of
then
course.
give them. It's fine. When it becomes a problem, then, and I don't even know how to check to see how many I'm following and how many following me. I mean,
Click on
that's
your name icon and go to my profile.
oh, okay. So followers 1920 and following 1084. It's
There
been
you
a
go.
long time since I went in there to actually see who's new to following. So you see, it's just like you. I'm not. I don't use it. I'm not a good user of Gab.
But see, that's the problem, though.
Yeah,
Is
I know. I
how do
know.
they transform it? I'm a good Twitter user. I have Twitter open all the time,
Hmm.
every day. I've got TweetDeck open. It doesn't matter if I'm home or at work. I've always got TweetDeck open. It's open in a tab, and I can at any given point just click over to it.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like
I
they've got
don't.
me conditioned, and I just for some reason cannot do that with Gab. I don't know what it is. There's just a lack of content, I think.
Well, I'm a worse user of Twitter than I am Gab. I don't use Twitter anymore. And the nice thing, and you see, and I don't understand when you post on Gab, there's a checkbox set to publish it to Twitter also.
Yeah. Mhm.
I guess there's a
That's
reason for that,
that's
but
pretty common because they want you to post cross-platform.
well,
Yeah, that it expands their the interest. People will
yeah.
see it. Oh, this came from Gab, and they go and look.
So yeah, I do it. I let it do it. It's fine. All right. 919-518-9773 Computers 2K voice on Skype. And listen to this story here. A US government network was infected with malware thanks to one employee's extensive with a T history of watching porn on his work computer, investigators have found. The audit carried out by the U.S. Department of the Interior's Inspector General found that a U.S. Geological Survey network at the EROS Center, a satellite imaging facility in South Dakota, was infected after an unnamed employee visited thousands of porn pages that contained malware.
What else
Which
are you gonna do in South Dakota?
the what?
What else are you gonna do in South Dakota?
That's what you get for being there. Yeah.
And
Um, it says that which downloaded to his laptop and exploited the USGS network. They found that many of the porn images were subsequently saved to an unauthorized USB device and personal Android cell phone, which was connected to the employee's government issued computer. Investigators found that his Android cell phone was also infected with malware. The findings were made public in a report earlier this month, but buried on the U.S. government oversight website and went largely unreported. So the guy is using our tax money to go and watch porn. I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen on a regular basis, but I mean,
seems
come
like a
on.
very incompetent technology user to
I mean,
get two devices completely loaded up with.
yep.
I can't imagine the first piece of malware you get infected with is the one that traverses through the network and does a whole bunch of stuff.
Mhm.
I would imagine you've got to have a whole bunch of nonsense loaded on there until you find that piece of malware. So it just seems like a totally technically incompetent person.
Right.
How do you
Well,
know he's not testing the network for vulnerabilities?
You know what? You make a great point. I'd give him a raise.
You know, he
no,
could
what I
be-
don't know is how do they know it was the porn sites that were infected and not any other site that he. It doesn't sound like a careful person, right? So how do they know that it was the poor side?
So the online
you're saying
gambling
it's a big
site that he would go
conspiracy.
to. and-
Exactly.
Big conspiracy.
Big conspiracy.
Film at 11.
No, we're all the real reality is that this is the Matrix, and we're all just batteries.
Hey, Bill Hicks said, right? It's just a ride.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my red pill?
Get ready to take it.
This is another joke here. A year after offering free credit monitoring to all Americans on account of its massive data breach that exposed the personal information of nearly 148 million people, Equifax now says it has chosen to extend the offer
Oh, wow. How nice.
by turning to a credit monitoring service offered by a top competitor, Experian. And to do that, it will soon be sharing with Experian contact information that affected consumers gave to Equifax in order to sign up for the service. So they're going to offload it kind of from their service to another one. Equifax says it will share the name, address, date of birth, social security number, and self-provided phone number and email address with Experian for anyone who signed up for its original Trusted ID Premier offering. That is, unless those folks affirmatively opt out of having that information transferred from Equifax to Experian. But not to worry, Equifax says. Experian already has most of this data. Experian currently has and is using this information, except phone numbers and email addresses, in the fulfillment of the Experian file monitoring, which is part of your current service with Trusted ID Premier. So, yeah, I mean, all these people have the same information. They're just competitors of each other, but very interesting. I guess Equifax is trying to offload it so they can concentrate on another breach. It takes time to get the breach. So, I don't know.
There you go.
You do understand that
That
these three companies, Equifax, what's the name?
Experian,
TransUnion.
and TransUnion, right? They are probably the only company in the US that don't need to worry about GDPR because only US citizens are in their database, right?
That's not true. There were
Why
people.
not?
There were people in the UK that got messed up. I mean, I think their visa
Yeah,
is.
but they need to be some sort of US person, right? They need a social security number.
I
So
don't
I
know.
think-
I don't know how it works, but I mean, I think it's from all over the world. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to argue that. I have no idea.
No, there's a lot of people that have U.S. Social Security numbers that aren't even American. What are you talking
That's-
about?
Even if
That's
they're
true.
dead, they're even dead and they're active.
That's right.
No, I'm sitting here with you guys, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You are?
right? I'm a visa worker here. I mean, the only reason I'm here with you guys is because if I would have been paid, right, then I wouldn't be able to do it because I'm limited. But I have a social security number as an immigrant. I'm not even an immigrant. I'm called a visa worker, right? So yeah.
Well,
You work for a credit card company?
No.
Oh, I thought you said you're a visa worker.
Oh, you need.
I was
You,
going to say, could you get me a good
you
interest
really
rate?
think? You really think we need to explain that?
I can't talk to you, guy. I'm only allowed to use MasterCard. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
all right. Now you want to get pissed?
Uh,
To dozens of cities across the United States, Amazon widely publicized search for a second headquarters looked like thousands of new jobs up for grabs. To pivot co-host Scott Galloway, it now looks like a ruse. Ruse? R-U-S-E?
A scam.
Yep. I lease
redirection, a
here goes. He goes,
fake news.
I lease office space all the time for my business. And I always tell my real estate agent, we can lease any office in the world as long as I can walk there from where I live. He said on his latest episode. Amazon is now talking about having 3 headquarters: Seattle, Crystal City, and Long Island City. The Bezos also own 3 homes, and the average distance from those 3 homes to a headquarter is 6.4 miles. This was never a contest, he added. It was a con meant to induce ridiculous terms that they then took to the cities all along that they knew they were going to be in.
It's like buying a car and going to multiple dealerships to get
Yep.
them to play against each other.
Mhm.
Yep, that makes sense.
In other words, by soliciting bids from lots of places where it was never going to move, Galloway alleges, Amazon was probably able to get more tax breaks from the predetermined winners, quote unquote. And he said, I would bet Kara that when they picked 2 cities and they went 2 and 3, they didn't say, well, only half our headquarters is going there. So we're going to let you cut the tax subsidies and incentives in half. Now, we were in that group. Raleigh was in the Triangle or North Carolina. No, the Triangle.
Yeah.
Was in that quote unquote contest. I can't imagine how many man hours it took from our government to sit there, to write papers, to negotiate. And if this is true, somebody needs to pay for that.
Of course,
Oh,
it's true.
probably
It's
cost
always been done.
A what?
It's nothing
probably
new.
cost millions.
I say it has always been done everywhere in the world. This
Huh?
is nothing new. This is not the first time I'm hearing of this scam. I remember things like that happening with. I remember things like that happening with Intel manufacturing facilities in Israel, because that's where I lived, right? But this has always been the case. Always, you pitch different. You try to get, as Spence said, you go to all of the car dealerships and you try to get the price down. That's always been done. It's nothing new.
No.
The only people who need to pay are the politicians who fell for it.
Well, look at how much money was wasted trying to attract the entertainment industry to different states. And it's like, who's the one who's on top now? Usually it's like Georgia. Georgia, for some reason, is every time you see some movie or TV show, you see some reference to Georgia in there. They're doing something, but what does it cost the state to attract that business? Is it really worthwhile? North Carolina was big in the movie industry for a while down in Wilmington with the studios that they had. They produced a lot of shows there, and now it's gone. It's basically fallen apart because the state is not investing that money, mainly because they realized, hey, it's not necessarily worth it to create 2,000 jobs and it costs us millions of dollars a year. How is that worth it?
Right.
Well, real quick on the Wilmington thing. I saw I was making coffee and I heard this conversation.
Yeah,
the problem with the movie jobs specifically is that they're temporary. These
Yes.
people are temporary workers. They're employed for 3 to 6 months at the movie studio, and then they're done, and they got to hop from job to job. It's not stable. And if you drive through Wilmington, you'll see a plethora of bumper stickers: films equals jobs. And there's some validity to that. It does. There it is jobs, but the city of Wilmington and the state of North Carolina are bending over for these freaking movie companies, charging them practically no taxes to do anything. And then, yes, people are employed, but it's temporary employment. When there's a hot TV show or a hot movie, you're employed. When there's not, you're not.
When they had several series being produced out of Wilmington, it was lucrative because
Which one? Out of the Dome? Under
well,
the
they
Dome?
had oh, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but there were two big series that were produced
Oh, the
out of
One Tree Hill is the big one.
One Tree Hill, and there was one that was before that. There was the predecessor to that. There was a different name that was produced. My daughter got in as an extra in several of
Cool.
these things just by when they were filming on a campus
Mhm.
somewhere. But yeah, it was when it was a recurring series that went on for 6 or 7 years. It was a pretty good gig, but
Yeah.
even then, it was only 6 months out of the year. So
Yeah, that's a really touchy subject down here. You know, there's half the people that are pro it, and there's half the people that say, "Hey, you know, we're giving Paramount Pictures, who's worth however many billions of dollars, these
tax
write-offs
breaks.
and
Yeah.
all these tax breaks, so they can pay you $12.75 an hour for 3.5 months."
Now, some of the state governments are actually putting contract clauses together that when they attract a company, for example, to come to a state, and they're supposed to, over a certain period of time, create so many jobs. If they don't do it, there have been some court cases where they've sued the company to say, wait, you said within a certain period of time you'd have 3,000 jobs here or 5,000 jobs here. You created 50, and we gave you millions in tax
Pay it
breaks.
back.
But I don't see them aggressively prosecuting. So there was some high profile stories about this, but I don't see it really going anywhere.
It's a double-edged sword because then new companies will not take a chance of coming here, not knowing exactly if it's going to pan out or not.
It sounds good when you're
So,
trying to get reelected. We brought in 10
yeah,
companies,
well, Spence, you want to do specials?
Sure.
Let me see if
Yeah,
I
let me
can.
get there.
Let me see if I can fix
Got
this.
too many windows open here. That's the problem.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to get a sneeze out of the way here first, so I'm gonna
All
go
right. Go
quiet
ahead
for
and
a
sneeze.
second.
Go ahead and sneeze. Let's everybody look. Let's everybody look at. Oh yeah, you shouldn't have stopped it. You should have let her out. You're still muted. Talk. You're muted. You are muted. You're muted. You're muted, Spence.
So those
Oh,
costume heads were $3 at Walmart when they were marking them all down in a big bin. So it was I figured I had to buy it.
all right.
That and a okay. All right. So specials. Okay. Computers Who Can Now specials for November 11th, 2018. The danger with today is that all the major retailers are already giving you previews of Black Friday.
Oh yeah.
So if you go to Best Buy, Office Depot, and Staples, they will have throughout their ads upcoming deals. So I had to be careful not to. This is all stuff that's available this week, and they still have some good deals, but it kind of dries up right before Black Friday with exceptional deals because they're holding off um, until we get through the holidays. All righty now. So starting with laptops at Best Buy, we've got an HP Envy 15.6-inch AMD Ryzen 5. So they've done a interesting thing with the Ryzen branding. They're closely matching the i5, i7 type branding. So this is I guess, an equivalent of an i5 type architecture and capability. But AMD Ryzen 5, and the prices now seem to be equivalent. There's no more how they used to be, a nice 20 or 30% savings when you went with an AMD. It looks like it's pretty comparable. But a Ryzen 5 8 gig laptop, $659, save $100. Office Depot has a Dell 15.6-inch Core i5 for $479. That's $220 off. Staples has an Acer 15.6-inch AMD Ryzen 3 for $349, save $110. Desktops and all-in-ones at Best Buy. We've got a Dell Core i3 mini tower for $369. That's $110 off. Office Depot has a Dell i3. Actually, it's not the same. It's not the same model. It's close in price, but it's not the same model. It's $130 off. And Staples has the HP Intel Pentium quad core for all-in-one for $369, which is $80 off the regular price. Haven't put an all-in-one up there for a while because it pretty much stagnated as far as anything new coming out. Tablets. Best Buy has a Samsung Galaxy Tab E entry-level light 7-inch tablet for $69.99. That's $30 off. Office Depot has a Samsung Galaxy Tab A 32 gig 8-inch tablet for $149.99. This is not a weekly ad sale, but it is on sale, $50 off. And Staples has the new Apple 9.7-inch iPad 32 gig 6th generation for $329. Networking. Now there was just not a lot of choice out there with networking products among the three vendors today, the three retailers today in their ads. They all had the same products essentially. Netgear Orbi AC3000 tri-band mesh. This particular model is the most popular one. It's a base station and one satellite. $279, which is $90 off. Now the performance on these is amazing. Any of the tri-band AC mesh products, they're it's worth looking at the specs and the reviews, but they all do a really good job of overcoming issues with interference and with low signal strength inside a house. This particular one is good for 4,000 square feet, which is pretty amazing. So the same products available at Office Depot for $379, and they also each of these also has the Netgear AC1600 that Staples is selling for $109. This is a DOCSIS 3 cable modem. It's capable of over 600 meg, which means it's a 16 channel down, but it's also got built into it Wi-Fi. So if this is something you're looking for a cable modem, you want to have Wi-Fi built in for $109, it's a pretty good price, $30 off. Okay, moving to storage. Best Buy has a SanDisk 32 gig micro flash adapter, I should say, for $9.99. It's $40 off the regular price. Plug it into your laptop or into your desktop computer and just let it sit there, which is nice. Office Depot has a 16 gig USB 2 flash drive for $5.99, $12 off. And Staples has a Samsung 1 terabyte solid state drive for $99. I don't know what the ratings are of this particular model as far as speed goes, but if speed, ultra speed is not your issue, this is a great way to upgrade an existing laptop or even a desktop. 1 terabyte drive. That's $10 off. Accessories. We have the interesting, we talked about this when it first came out, the Fix Me Stick, which is a USB thumb drive that has all kinds of virus and adware and malware removal tools on it for $29.99, $30 off, half price. And it says 3 devices, so you can use it for 3 different devices, and it comes with a 1-year subscription. So if you're maintaining a family bunch of computers and you're concerned about having software available and you're worried about, I have to download this, malware bytes to go in and fix a machine, this might be a good alternative for $30. And I don't know what the subscription costs per year, but it does come with a 1-year subscription. Office Depot Office Max has an APC 450 VA battery backup for $39, save $10. And Staples has a Logitech MK550 high-end keyboard mouse combo for $44.99, which is $35 off. If you like that multimedia wave keyboard feel with lots of programmable or pre-programmed function keys. This is a nice setup. Okay, monitors. We have at Best Buy an AOC 21.5-inch monitor for $79.99. That's $50 off. Office Depot has an Acer 27-inch monitor for $50 off at $129.99. And here is a Samsung 23-inch curved monitor for $129 at Staples. That's $50 off. I saw a 32-inch curved monitor. I think it was $189 in a store the other day. I was like, oh, I completely do not need it, right? But boy, would I really like to have it.
Do they make a
It's
9-inch curve?
9-inch curve? You could take a 9-inch tablet and just warm it, heat it up,
Put it in your back
and
pocket
bend
and
it,
sit. Yeah.
bend it, yeah, and then just that's a way to get around it. Printers and scanners. We have an entry level price for a pretty decent Epson Expression wireless all-in-one inkjet printer. It's $49.99. Say $50 is half price. That's at Best Buy. Office Depot has an Epson Workforce Pro WF 4730. This is an all-in-one office grade inkjet printer for $129, which is $70 off. And Staples has an HP LaserJet Pro M102W, which is for wireless, mono laser printer for $99. This is $20 off. It's supposed to be a duty cycle, business type duty cycle as far as laser goes here for $99. Home automation and security. This is a product, the Ecobee thermostat that I will be installing this fall. I've been wanting to put this in the house for a while. It's a very good thermostat. I've installed several of them. But what I like about it is it has that little independent room sensor, which you can add on. This one comes with it. This has a feature I don't care about. That's the built-in Alexa. And I'm really not going to go for that. It's cheaper if you buy it without the Alexa. But the room sensors are great because you can create a custom program. If your house has a problem with trying to balance temperature, sometimes one room is hot, one room is cold. You can set this up to say that from 8 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning, I want you to set the temperature based on my bedroom. And during the day, I want you to use the thermostat in the hall. And during on weekends, I want it to be in the kitchen. Whatever you want to do, you can move the sensor around too. It's not fixed. You can pick it up and move it from room to room. But great product and reliable. Great support. I've had several customers who I've installed this who had questions about programming and called them up, and they were actually able to remotely connect to the thermostat and configure it for them, which is pretty cool. That's at Best Buy. Office Depot has a D-Link tilt and Pam day-night network camera for $99. Is $20 off. This is kind of a mid-level. I have the cheaper version of this, but this is a very functional camera. I use it. I have one installed downstairs. This is not a typical sale item. It's not on their ad this week, but it is on sale, $20 off. And Staples has a Vivitar Smart Security Wi-Fi cam for $39.99, which is $10 off. And here's kind of the overflow stuff, other stuff that's out there that we already filled something in the category. Staples has a Brother PTD label maker 400, model 400 for $24.99. That's $25 off. These are getting to the point where this functionality is amazing. It's just the materials that are pretty expensive. But if you're careful on how you use it, if you're printing multiple labels, you can figure out a way to save on the label. It shows it coming out very nicely where it's trimmed right to the edge of the label. Well, that's not how it comes out of the label maker. It comes out with a lot of waste on either side.
Yep.
So if you're smart, you can figure out a way to print successive labels or come up with a way to doodle with it a little bit to save on labeling. Prices have come down on the bulk supplies though, and there are some third parties now making these newer, wider, colorful labels. Staples also has a 32 gig USB 3.0 drive, Lexar jump drive for $9.99, which is $30 off. Office Depot, Office Max has the Guardzilla indoor and outdoor versions of their security cameras. And these have just gotten better over time. These look like the original versions, but Software's gotten better. Their service has gotten better. The app has gotten better. They do support two-way audio, which is kind of spooky, but good at the same time. You can actually talk through the device. If you see somebody in your house, you want to talk to the dog. Oh, it's okay. You'll be home soon. You can say something. I'm sure the dog loses their mind too when you do that. But $79 each. And Best Buy's got a Western Digital 2 terabyte USB 3.0 portable hard drive for $69.99. That's $60 off. And now here's a deal, Amnon. You need this. SanDisk Ultra 256 gig USB 3 flash drive for $49.99. That's $150 off the regular price. Go get it. And I did have time this morning to run over to Fry's and look at some stuff. Fry's, CyberPower, good brand for battery backup systems, an 850 VA for $74. They've got a 650 VA for $54. They're running a final clearance on LG 24X DVD-RW OEM. This is a not in a retail box type situation. $19.99. And Amnon, you need these to put these all over your environment there. USB powered fans. Now notice that it says it's a strong wind and quiet. So if you need a strong wind fan, here's
5
here's the way to go.
CFM, right?
Right. Yeah. Strong wind. Yep.
Yeah.
$6.99. And Nick, this is for you, the Osaki Apollo massage chair. Oh, he's gone. Oh, well. So you can sit there and make sure you don't get deep vein thrombosis while you're spending 10 hours in front of your computer every day.
That's very nice of you, Spence. I appreciate
That's
that.
it. I figured you'd like it. Oh, you're there. I'm sorry. On my screen, it didn't show you there.
I wasn't there,
thought
but
you'd like
I'm
this.
listening on speakers. And
Yeah, you can order this. It'll be shipped by freight
I was
to
hoping
your
you were
house.
going to order it. I could just come pick it up.
Yeah, well, that'll
isn't
work
that
too. What's your
the-
credit card number?
I thought you had all that handled.
And finally, we've been waiting, and it's finally here. The whole Rambo series is available in 4K. Right? Hey, $15.99 each. Who's going to go and order this today? I mean, how could you resist? Right? Well, it's available on the 13th, so we have to wait till Tuesday to order it. And there you have it. Computers 2K Now specials for November 11th. Next week is when we start the beginning of Black Friday madness.
Spence, isn't that chair the one they use in Wall-E?
Oh, yeah, it could be. It could be. It might just float around your house too, or just that'd be something. Yeah, this is. I mean, if it was as good as the ones they have in the airports, where they have the shiatsu massage in the back, and then they've got the leg compression stuff on the bottom there. Wow, that's pretty good. They're saving instant savings of $1,200. So there you go.
So I have one thing to add because a friend bought this week, so that's how I heard about it. It's Best Buy is selling a Western Digital Easy Store 10 terabytes for $179.99. That's $180 for a 10 terabyte, and they also throw in a 32 gigabyte Easy Store USB flash.
Wow, that's not in their regular ad.
No. They mark it as a Black Friday ad deal. It's still on the site, still has stock, so definitely check that out. That's an amazing deal.
Okay.
$180 for 10 terabytes hard drive, an external hard drive. Yeah. So if you're low on space, definitely check that out.
Neato. All right. 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. So Windows as a service sounded like a good idea in 2015 when Microsoft released Windows 10. But after a terrible October, Microsoft Windows 10 problems continued in November. last week, an unknown number of devices running Windows 10 suddenly lost their activation status. The owners of those devices were told that they no longer had a valid digital license and were running a non-genuine copy of Windows. Those activation problems are now apparently resolved, but Microsoft hasn't offered an explanation or an apology. The company spokesperson declined to provide any additional details. There was another article that said that people that that had that problem were told to downgrade their Pro to Home version. And they gave them a button to click on that will take it down to Home. And now, you realize there was a problem. I don't know how you're going to take it back to Pro unless you have a backup. But that is now
So
that's not new. I gotta say, I've seen these problems with XP. I've seen these problems with Windows 7. That suddenly, out of nowhere, it says it's non-genuine, and you have to, and of course, the customer is all up in arms, and they can't use or do certain things. And said, just look on the back, get the number, and type it in, and they do it, and everything is fine. But why does it have to happen? I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. As far as I'm concerned, once you activated Windows and the number, the key is correct and everything, it's never going to change. Why can't you put somewhere in the register said never change that? This is it.
Well, this is the new Microsoft intrusive support model
Yeah.
because they want to be looked at as that. Remember when they were starting to change over to the new release methodology, where they come out with the new, what would they call it, the designers edition or something like that? They were creators edition, and the spring
Yeah.
update. They were they were trying to be more like Apple instead of having major releases that you had to download and install. So
Well,
it's funny how
it is. It's funny, but it's not funny.
no, it's not funny, but I mean it's interesting that they've shifted people so much away from development to support to try to build this ecosystem, and now now the development is suffering.
Yeah. And the users.
Yep. Well, the last time I got an update, it didn't break my monitors, which was encouraging.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
There's still a chance.
Yes, there is still a chance.
You still have hope. And Facebook Messenger will soon allow you to delete sent messages up to 10 minutes after you've originally sent them.
Delete them forever, or just delete them
Well,
from
they say
what I can
forever.
see?
It says compared to the 1 hour Facebook gives you to delete an erroneous WhatsApp message. 10 minutes doesn't give you too much time to correct yourself, but it's a lot better than having your mistake preserved eternally. So apparently it is forever. That's what they say, of course. That doesn't mean that that's what they are doing. It may just not being seen by your page or whatever, but it's still on their servers. Who's using a Mac? Nobody's using a Mac because we have real users here. Apple's new generation Macs come with a new so-called Apple T2 security chip that's supposed to provide a secure enclave coprocessor responsible for powering a series of security features, including Touch ID. At the same time, this security chip enables the secure boot features on Apple's computers And by the look of things, it's also responsible for a series of new restrictions that Linux users aren't going to like. The issue seems to be that Apple has included security certificates for its own and Microsoft operating system, and that's to allow running Windows via Boot Camp, but not for the certificate that was provided for systems such as Linux. Disabling Secure Boot can overcome this, but also disable access to the machine's internal storage, making installation of Linux impossible. So Linux is powering it, but you can't boot Linux on a Mac, on a new Mac. That's the latest generation Macs.
So this is kind of like their answer to TPM. No, I mean, really, is that what is this just like an offloading a security processor, or
I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's they have to come up with something new. So come on.
what it sounds to me more like they're trying to lock their hardware down.
I mean, you can still kind of get away, go around it, but for the everyday user, There was something else here about them. Where was it? Shoot. Something about
Well,
the hardware being their new hardware is soldered. The storage and
really?
so,
Oh, that's not good.
yeah, is soldered
That
in,
so it's not upgradable?
not upgradable.
No, I mean, not you can't add to it? Is that just the first?
They didn't. I don't remember seeing anything about uh adding to it. But the point was that, okay, yeah,
To
you're
save a few pennies on the
I
socket?
get that's exactly it. It's to save a few pennies. It's for no other reason. Why would why would you do that?
I didn't tell you about my,
Uh-oh.
BitLocker story.
Oh, no, you didn't. Yeah. Okay, yeah, tell us. I mean,
So
it's
I
an
installed
interesting.
BitLocker on 2 Lenovo, Carbon, laptops, and this was at the request of a customer who is a CPA and needed to comply with the IRS regulations for encrypting and protecting customer data. And in their environment, they have Dropbox, which is in and of itself protected for sharing files among the. It's just a small shop of 2 employees, but they did do local backups onto which I set up on some external hard drives, and they did do some storage of information they were concerned about. Just needed to be able to protect the stuff. So I went through the process of installing it on the C drives, and it actually went very well. Didn't take very long because they didn't have it was just the operating system and applications. They didn't have a lot of customer data stored there, but we did went through and encrypted the entire drives. One took a little longer than the other. And then I encrypted on the one machine, I'm not sure if it's a 2 or 3 terabyte USB 3.0 external hard drive. And it took overnight to do it, a lot of data there, but it worked fine. The other one had purchased a new drive, which is a 5 terabyte Western Digital drive, kept failing. I kept getting a weird error saying that unable to continue to enumerate uh, drive something no longer valid. So I looked it up, and just all kinds of problems with what originally looked like it was the actual physical hard drive itself, but for that it may be something in the BIOS or the uh, actual chipset on the drive. That's what people were trying to figure out. Well, it turns out after doing some research on it that it was the size of the drive, not the actual physical drive. So tried a couple of times to do it. I actually was doing this remotely. And finally, after researching, I said, well, since this is a new drive, I don't have to worry about encrypting old data. I'm just going to wipe it. I created 2 partitions, 2.5 terabyte partitions. After I did that, it worked. It didn't like the size of the drive. So other than that, it seemed to work really well. I experimented with removing BitLocker to make sure that that whole process would work. I didn't do it on a large scale because I didn't have I created a new machine just to put BitLocker on and then take it off again. So I didn't have a lot of data to process, but it worked fine on my experiment. And I hope that this doesn't create an issue later. But it was easy to do. These were very fast machines, though, and they did have TPM version 2.0 onboard chips. So it
Huh.
worked good. And it was able to encrypt
So that's it.
the
It's all
USB
done and
drives.
working.
Yeah. So if
Good.
somebody, and the main threat was that somebody would steal come into the office and see the USB drive there and just steal it, and then would have data on it, and it would be easily read. Well, now it can't be. They give you easy ways to back up your recovery key, which is a long string for 40 something characters long. You can print it, which as long as you have a safe place to keep it, you can store it as a text file. And you can also back it up to your Microsoft account, which if you go and look at your Microsoft account, you can look at the machines that are registered. Will tell you the status of those machines, what drives are running BitLocker, and actually store your encryption key, recovery key on the Microsoft site, which is actually very handy.
Mhm.
So yeah, not a bad experiment, or not a bad experience, I should say. And I would say very easy. There are some open source versions of BitLocker out there, BitLocker-like tools, but the fact that you can manage it with your Microsoft account makes it very easy.
Unless somebody breaks in.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah. We don't know what we don't know yet.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
All right. Listen to this, and I hope none of our customers, or none of our viewers is in that group. AT&T will alert a little more than a dozen customers within the next week or so that their service will be terminated due to copyright infringement.
I heard about this. Yeah.
That's coming from Axios, citing sources familiar with its plans. It says it is the first time AT&T has discontinued customer service over piracy allegations since having shaped its own piracy policy last year, which is significant given it's just became one of America's major media companies. AT&T owns a content network after its purchase of Time Warner earlier this year, an entity now called Warner Media Content Network, and are typically responsible for issuing these types of allegations to internet service providers for them to address with their customers. So it seems kind of ridiculous that they would just disconnect it, terminate their service instead of just saying, hey, guys, you can't do that. You better stop. It's like one strike.
I'm sure there's already been conversations with some of these people now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is from the beginning of last week.
No, but my point
So-
is, like, Time Warner has got
Oh,
a 2 or 3 strike policy if they catch you. They don't just shut off your service. I can't imagine AT&T is doing the same. And here's the thing, though, even if they do,
Well-
I mean, luckily, unlike broadband cable, there's a dozen other cell providers. So,
hopefully. Hopefully.
well, there
So-
is. I mean, there
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
If Time Warner cut off my service tomorrow and said, "Excuse me, we will not serve you," I'd be screwed.
Stop drinking and coming to the show, okay?
I just have a real problem here with
Yeah.
Time Warner. But no, but see, I'd be screwed. I'd have to
Right.
get I'd have to get a Verizon or an AT&T mobile data solution, but I wouldn't be able to play video games on that.
Yeah.
So not that it's okay, but at least there's other ways to get cell service.
Yeah. In order to use day-to-day usage, not for high
Yeah.
power user like you.
Well, I found I had the opportunity to play around with the service that Verizon offers this week. Um, we, we've talked a lot in the past about um, these little guys, these OB highs. These are these VoIP to POTS little devices. These things are how much are these things, Amnon? $30, $35.
Yeah,
Um,
something like that, maybe less.
on Staples or Amazon, wherever you can get them. And they're cool little devices. They work with Google Voice, and or they did work with Google Voice. I think they still do. You can get a free phone number, and you plug in Ethernet. You can take a POTS line out. You're good to go. Um, I'm in a situation at one of my broadcast transmitter sites where I've got a tool that is a remote control for my transmitter, so I can view the status of the transmitter. I can turn it on and off. I can do some pretty rudimentary troubleshooting remotely, like restarting it or shutting it off, turning it on. And the remote controlled device is connected to the internet, and I can log into it via website. But it's also got a dial out, a POTS. It acts like a phone hook. So I needed a solution to um, dial out. And my first thought was to set up an OB high, but then I realized I'm at the whim of the internet. If I lose internet down there, the web interface isn't going to work. My phone interface isn't going to work. So, in talking with a couple different people, I found that Verizon Wireless offers a device called I think it's called the T200, um, or maybe it's the T2000. It's the T2000, and it looks like a little wireless jetpack.
MiFi.
Exactly. It looks like a
Yeah.
MiFi, but it's a
Yeah.
wireless home phone solution. I don't know how much the device itself costs. I don't think the device is more than 30 or $40.
Oh, I've
And
heard of people that have this. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
20 I think it's $20 a month for the quote unquote service. And but it runs off Verizon's LTE network. It does something very similar to what the OBHI does, except instead of plugging in an Ethernet jack, it pulls it off Verizon's LTE network.
Yeah.
So I've got that set up now, and that's an interesting alternative. We talk a lot. I know Amnon and Spence, you guys use the UMAs, but those are totally reliant on you having broadband internet. And if you have an issue with broadband internet, specifically if you're somebody that you has a security system or something that has a dial out, and you're using a VoIP adapter or some type of VoIP system to do your dial out for a security system,
No, they
that's
will not.
something you may want to
They
rethink.
will not allow you to do that.
Well, in a commercial environment, you're correct, but you can buy home security systems.
I couldn't. I mean, they will not activate my security system when we finally went away from landlines. They will not do it. Absolutely not. They had to come in and put a
Who is they
cell,
though?
like a cell. That's what's the that North Carolina CPI.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah, you're talking about a security company, but you can buy home security systems.
Oh,
that are on-
yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can get your own. Yeah. CPI, of course. But you can get your own uh security system, and it will most likely have an internet and some type of POTS connection. But
Yeah.
y-
Yeah.
your POTS and your internet are the same source. If you're using an OB High or an UMA, or frankly, even Spectrum is all VoIP now.
Right.
So I thought this was an interesting solution. It's the Verizon T2000, very simple device. It's got a fax and a phone jack. And the big thing that makes this device useful is that it allows what is called, I think it's called overdial, when you're allowed to use the number, the when you press a button on the phone and it makes the dial tone. it converts that. Unlike Straight Talk makes a very similar device to this that does not allow overdial, so you couldn't control a menu via tones, via numbers. So yeah, if you need something like that, and it's got a battery built into it, by the way. So even when your power goes out, it will continue to run. It's got a small little lithium-ion battery in it.
Okay, so what are you limited? What are
Not
your
limited to anything.
limitation?
There's none. It's instead of using an High, which relies on, or an UMA, which relies on your Spectrum internet to be up, this thing relies on Verizon's 4G network.
And
Which if there's
there's no
power out,
there's no limit.
it's not a data connection. It's a phone. It's
limited to phone. Is it
it's a
cheaper
VoIP.
than buying a broadband connection, a separate
it's
broadband connection?
It's $20 a month. So I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure.
Okay, let
I
me
know-
let me put it
So
this way.
I have the Cradle Point router.
Mhm.
You know, you ever seen these? This
Yeah,
is
I've seen it.
yeah. I used to use this when I travel for business. I used my broadband USB dongle, and I connected to Ethernet so I could run all my voice demos,
Of course.
and it worked really well. But this has been sitting in a box now for years. I haven't used it. It's 100 meg Ethernet. It doesn't do gig, but you're
So-
welcome if you want to mess with this. I have it here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this is Amnon, this is just for phone. This is just pods.
I
There's
understand.
No internet.
I understand. But
Mhm.
but if you, let's say you pay Spectrum for a phone service,
Mhm.
which costs you about $20 a month.
It's like 40 when they add all their taxes and fees and whatnot.
Well,
into it.
yeah. So you can actually have one of these and put it in your house and use the phone all day long, and it's not going to cost you a penny more than 20.
I don't believe so. I don't
Okay.
remember there being any limitations
Alright.
on that.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
I'll tell you this. I didn't really look at that because I'm not using it as a phone system, but all the providers now don't charge for minutes. That's not a thing
Yeah.
that they even I don't
Yeah.
even think they offer that anymore. But it's cool, and it'll do fax, which is neat. So it's got a little screen on the front with a couple different pages. It'll show you your phone number. It's a neat little device. It's $20 a month, which is it was similar to if you had a basic cell phone package
Mhm.
without data.
Can you use it to mirror your cell phone number?
I'm not sure if Verizon does that. They may, but that would probably be something they'd have to do in their
Right.
back
Yeah,
end.
they would just have it'd be more like a find me, follow me type thing.
Find me, follow me
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I'm sure Verizon is capable of doing something like that.
Oh,
It's
they have that service, so you could probably forward.
forward to that. It's
Um,
got an antenna jack too, which I've got to hook up because I've got too much RF interference at that site for it to work reliably. But it's got an antenna jack, it's got a POTS out, a fax out, and the real cool thing is the lithium ion battery. So if you lose power, which is when I think something like this would really shine, you're still able to make a phone call. It says
Yeah.
it'll 3 hours of usage time if you lost power, which is, that's a long time to be on the phone. 33 hours of standby time based on its battery. And the fax is cool too. I mean, I don't know what it supports fax. I don't know what
Yeah, that's a
other
big thing because a lot of voice over IP do not support fax.
Yeah. So it's got
Yeah.
G3 fax support, and let's see, it supports call forwarding through a calling voicemail 411-611-911, and callers and then the display shows a number when it's calling, if that's useful for you. So yeah, it's a neat little device. It's over at Verizon. I'm sure all the other providers have got something similar, but I
Very
was I had the opportunity to put one of these in service, and
And it works.
I know for a
that's what
fact
matters.
that it works in
Yeah.
other locations. It doesn't work in mine because of RF interference, but that's an easy fix.
What? Turn all your neighbors' devices off? What do you mean? It's an
No,
easy
this
fix.
is being installed at a radio transmitter, and AT&T,
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah,
AT&T's equipment is all right next to it, and
Yeah.
a little outdoor antenna should get me up and running. But it's a neat little device, and
Yeah.
for people that are trying to get rid of their home phone, but maybe don't want to rely on the internet to do so, in a power. I'm thinking of this hurricane that was down here a couple months ago now. Internet and power was out throughout the entire area, and so were a lot of the cell providers. But I was able to every once in a while catch a cell signal. So this might be an option for somebody that wants a redundant
Yeah.
service.
No.
Alan is asking how much monthly data I use. Alan, I don't know. I want to say I'm gonna log in and look. I want to say it's 3 or 4 gigabytes. I hop from Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi. I've got Wi-Fi at home. I've got Wi-Fi at the office. Um, I don't. I'm not really in a situation where I burn a whole lot of outside data.
Most people are like that, but that's how the companies make money.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I mean, like for example, I'll be heading up to Raleigh later this week, over the next weekend, and I'll probably stream a podcast going up there. So that'll be.
But you'll be
But
on
that-
but you'll be on Wi-Fi.
Oh, not driving in the car. I won't.
You'll be streaming a game in the
I said
car.
I said a podcast.
Oh, okay.
But that's only a couple. That may be 20 or 30 megabytes. So I don't.
Megabytes. Yeah. That's not
20 or 30
much. Yeah.
megabytes. So that's not really a lot. But I want to see here if I can log into my AT&T account and see how much I've used. I know I've got a family plan. I think it's maybe 20 gigabytes shared.
Yeah, that's a
So-
lot.
Well, it is. But not everybody's in a situation where they have, like, for example, my father doesn't have Wi-Fi at work. So when he uses his phone, he's got to burn data.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's amazing. No Wi-Fi at work.
Yeah, I don't know my account information. So.
Well, when you find it, you can come
Yep.
back. In the meantime, we're talking about tech giants getting together and deciding on something that affects other people. In a new agreement between tech giants Amazon and Apple, shoppers will soon see a selection of the latest Apple products on Amazon.com.
משהו נחמד.
What are you
Your
saying,
mics are
Gal?
muted.
Got it.
Talking, sorry.
This is not good news for everyone. Motherboards John Bernstead is a computer refurbisher. No, this is coming from Motherboard. Computer refurbisher who every year saves thousands of laptops from the shredder. He buys MacBooks from electronics recyclers, fixes them, then sells them on Amazon Marketplace or wholesale sells them to vendors who do the same. Friday morning, he got an email from Amazon informing him that he'd no longer be allowed to sell Apple computers on the platform, thanks to a new agreement between Apple and Amazon that will only allow authorized resellers to sell Apple products. So Apple is trying to make more money here. As part of the new agreement with Apple, we are working, this is from the letter, we are working with a select group of authorized resellers to offer an expanded selection of Apple and Beats products, including new releases in Amazon stores. You are receiving this message because you are currently selling or have previously sold Apple or Beats products. Your existing offers for those products will soon be removed from Amazon's online store in the United States. Please contact Apple if you would like to apply to become an authorized reseller on Amazon. Good luck. As the email notes, this is part of a new agreement between two of the largest companies in the world that will allow Amazon to sell new Apple products around the world. In exchange, Amazon agreed to let Apple pick and choose who is allowed to sell Apple products on the site. Now, a lot of people will say, "Oh, so it's no big deal. It's fine. Go and start selling it on eBay." I was not aware. I have a friend that sells on Amazon. To sell on Amazon, you have to go through so many hoops and spend so much money on development, on printing all type of labels, of maintaining such number of units in stock. I mean, a lot of things that you are spending money and time on just for the privilege of selling on Amazon. And to come and write you a letter, then within a week, you are out. That's what big giant tech can do to you. I mean, this guy is probably making his livelihood that way, and they're robbing him of it. So people will just need to, and of course, if it's going to be an quote unquote authorized, it's going to cost a lot more, and the prices are going to go up if you're buying those uh, units. So again, it's greed on the part of the big companies. Apple doesn't want somebody to refurbish and sell it like that unless they pay him something. Come on, you threw these away. You made them so people cannot fix them. Somebody figured out how to fix them. What's wrong? It's like me going and getting trash from all the neighbors and converting it to power, and CPNL comes and say, no, you can't do that. It's actually sad. And Gal, this is up your alley. Cable and satellite TV providers lost about 1.1 million subscribers during the July to September period. The largest quarterly loss ever. And the first time the industry lost more than 1 million subscribers in a quarter. This is according to media and telecommunication research firm Moffett Matheson. It says after Dish Network reported its third quarter earning this week, the New York headquarters research firm tallied up the publicly reported subscriber losses to arrive at the finding. Dish lost 341,000 in the third quarter, compared to adding 16,000 in the same period a year ago. Overall, Dish lost 367,000 satellite subscribers, but added 26,000 Sling TV subscribers. A media and technology analyst with financial service from arrived at a similar conclusion and called it the third worst quarter in industry history and worse since the second quarter 2016. This is it's getting worse and worse for these companies.
Yeah,
Isn't
but I think they have a strategy
Yeah.
to counter this. Like Gal was saying last week, how the price is almost equal, right? You're getting the same.
Yeah,
They've got a way
right.
to give you the same service now. It's just now you're streaming. And I have a neighbor whose house I was working at this week who said to me, they just switched out. They went from a grandfather Time Warner plan to a Spectrum plan,
Mhm.
and a guy came to the house and installed everything, and they put in a new DVR. They traded all their equipment in, and the technician said, a couple more years, you won't need any of this equipment anymore. It's all going to be streaming. So they're already got an exit strategy for the hardware that they're using now. So it won't be long.
Cord cutting promised us that we won't have to pay the ludicrously large cable bills. But it turns out, as long as you do not just want to watch a very limited set of movies and TV shows, you will have to subscribe to any number of these devices: Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, HBO, Go, Hulu, and Disney, and more. For
Sounds
some,
like the analysts were listening to our show last week.
You know what bothers me about cable? It's not the
What?
price of it. It's expensive, don't get me wrong, but so
Yeah.
is the internet. I mean, Christ, Spectrum charging me $60 right now for this freaking internet that I have. That's outrageous.
Yeah.
But for another $40 or so, I could get TV. And I've contemplated it before. It's not the price, it's the contract. It's the 2-year contract that they sign you to. If I
Wait
could
a
go
second.
month by month
I
with
didn't
it,
think that Spectrum has.
still to get that price, yeah. I mean, to get it for $40 for
Oh, okay.
$40 a month, it's like it's a 2-year contract. Well, same thing with their IP system. Spectrum does offer an IP only system, IP only TV, but you have
Yeah.
to sign a freaking contract with it. It's
Well-
no different than the regular TV.
It's
My
not.
daughter
It's
my
not a
daughter did the
contract. Mike isn't
trial.
here, so the legalese is missing. It's not a contract, but it's how do they call it? They call it a preferred deal, something like that, right? Where
I'm not sure about that.
yeah, it's not a contract. So if you break out of it, right, you don't need to pay them any fees. So that it's not, you're not breaking the contract, but you're getting the promotional price. So you're getting the promotional price for 2 years, and then they switch you on to the regular pricing automatically. That's the deal. But what it means is that during that 2 years, you can't make any change to that, or you'll miss the promotion and you'll switch automatically to the regular deal.
Yeah, you reset yourself back.
Yeah,
I need to look
but
at
it's not
that.
a contract.
Well,
right?
when I looked at the online service that they offer. I don't remember what they call it. Spectrum. The names escape me, but their IPTV solution. I am almost positive that it was a 2-year contract I had to sign.
Yeah, but there's no penalty of leaving the contract. That's what I mean.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
the fact that, yeah, in effect, it is a legal contract, and you're signing saying, yeah, I'm gonna get this price as long as I stay within the contract. So that is a contract. But so they try to shift away from the word contract because previously, if you remember, right, you'll sign in for a 2-year contract and
Mhm.
you couldn't break it,
Right.
because if you broke it midway, you'll need to pay penalties. So that's gone. You'll never pay penalties because the competition is such that this won't happen anymore, right? Because it drew too many customers away. But now,
A lot of
so
those
they're saying-
companies now will buy your contract.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why it went away, because if Spectrum is buying your AT&T contract and AT&T is buying your Spectrum contract, right? I mean, it's just a lot of paperwork. It's not really money. So they stopped it.
Is there a black market for contracts? Maybe we can make some money here.
A gray market.
Well,
Yeah.
depends on the type of contract, right?
Hey, buddy, you want to buy a halfway used contract on Spectrum? Come on back here to my car.
Yeah, but then you have a trouble with Amazon not allowing the contract because it's not a genuine contract.
Well, let's see here. Yep.
Yeah. Did you know that Sprint has been slowing traffic to Microsoft's internet-based video chat service, Skype?
They would
According-
never do that.
According
be
to
careful here.
new findings from an ongoing study by Northeastern University and the University of Massachusetts, among leading U.S. carriers, Sprint was the only one to throttle Skype. They found the throttling was detected in 34% of 1,968 full tests. I'm seeing a lot of doing shows here, and sometimes there are guests who come in through Skype, and it's been a long time since I've seen a stable Skype connection, as in really nice and continue. Every now and then, things happening. Some are worse than others, going robotics, freezing, and all that. I'm going to start asking the guests if they're on Sprint network. Just
Sprint?
curious. It's interesting. What'd
How
you
would they be
say?
on? How would they be on Sprint if they're on cable?
How's what?
It's Sprint doing this.
Yeah, Sprint is doing it.
How would they be on Sprint though? Sprint doesn't offer cable internet at home.
I have no idea. Maybe on mobile.
Oh, yeah.
They said that they've been throttling. Maybe when they get it from the phone, and I mean, remember when you're using your mobile, it doesn't go from your phone directly to Microsoft. It goes through the Sprint network, internet, whatever IP network to Microsoft, and maybe that's where they're doing it. And Gal, where's Gal?
I'm here.
Oh, he's there. Listen to that, guys. Iranian infrastructure and strategic network have come under attack in the last few days by a computer virus similar to Stuxnet, but more violent, more advanced, and more sophisticated. And Israeli officials are refusing to discuss what role, if any, they may have had in the operation.
Yeah, well, knowing Israeli officials, they have no idea.
They're saying, remember
Good one.
they say, remember Stuxnet, the virus that penetrated the computers of the Iranian nuclear industry? The report on Israel's Hadashot News asked, Iran has admitted in the past few days that it is again facing a similar attack from a more violent, more advanced, and more sophisticated virus than before that has hit infrastructure and strategic networks. This all has to do with nuclear stuff. The Iranians' TV report went on. They are not admitting, of course, how much damage has been caused. And the head of Iran's civil defense industry said that Iran had neutralized a new version of Stuxnet. Yeah, right. Reuters reported Stuxnet penetrated Iran's nuclear program, taking control and sabotaging parts of its enrichment products. This is even worse. This is very interesting. And if Israel is there, good for them. Somebody needs to do that. It's, of course, I'll bet it's the U.S. doing it, and with partnership.
Why
over
the
there.
U.S.? Why not China? Why not
For evil.
Russia?
China
I'm not
is
hates
No,
the
no.
United States.
Not about evil, about controlling nuclear power and making sure there's no new player there. It can be anyone.
Maybe Amazon is doing it.
Oh,
Oh, thank God
no.
Mike's not here. Boy, I have an Amazon story this week. I ordered a freaking package last Sunday. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be here Friday.
And it's
I
still
said,
not.
okay, fine. And now it's free. And now it's lost.
Oh, jeez.
I mean,
Yep.
you want me to tell you want to know what I ordered? Let me tell you what I ordered here. I ordered clips, little alligator clips that clip onto headphones so I can attach it to the back of my shirt so I don't pull the headphones out of my ears.
Mhm.
These things were $3.99. And I've been waiting now a week for them. And now my package is lost. And Amazon says, you're SOL.
That's because it came from China
And it came from freaking Houston, Texas.
by way of China.
I mean, I guess so.
If you don't get them by Friday, Nick, I've got 2 bags of them.
Do you really?
Yeah.
What they connect to headphones?
Yeah, they have that thing that you stick the wire
Well,
under.
perfect. Then I'm just going to cancel my order because I got this pair of wireless earbuds at the office, and they're the ones that don't have any bass. They're just the cable, and they've got the connectors on them. But I only want to keep one ear in at a time. The problem is it whatever side I don't have pulled in drags down, and it pulls it out of my ear.
Yeah,
So
these are the black plastic ones, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they are.
Yeah.
Oh, well, perfect. Well, then I can tell Amazon go straight to hell with this and get my money. I mean, but I don't understand how this is. I ordered these.
That's them.
You ordered,
But that doesn't come from Amazon.
No, they didn't lose the package.
What I mean is you bought it from a third-party seller on Amazon.
Yes, but
that wasn't a prime shipment that they were.
It was a prime shipment. Absolutely, it was a prime shipment.
That's strange. So how come you buy something on Sunday and it will come only on Friday, right?
Because it
Prime
takes 2
shipment.
days. That's two. It shipped on Wednesday, so it was 2 day. Thursday, Friday is 2 day, but it didn't ship till Wednesday.
Well, all right.
Yeah, this is an Amazon Choice, Amazon Prime the purchase.
Hmm?
So yeah, I ordered it.
Hey, Nick.
Oh, how about this, Gall? Yeah, that's exactly it, Amnon. Gall, how about this? I ordered it actually on Saturday, November 3rd. So last Saturday I ordered it. It wasn't supposed to come till the 9th, and now it's lost.
Well, that's
What
all
a look! It's great, fantastic. Everything's working out
Yeah.
as planned.
I think if Amazon would have gone right now, they'll refund you, right?
Yeah, they will. But
It's not a problem.
And it'll end up coming anyway, so I'll get
Yeah.
$3.50.
But that's not the point. The point is,
No,
what if
no,
it wasn't
exactly.
coming? What if you needed it? You know, I mean,
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking if they switch to a system where if they're in the wrong, they pay, not just refund, right? They pay, suddenly everything will become perfect, right? Because they'll throw out all the kinks from within the system, otherwise they'll lose money.
Yeah, and again, this situation, I don't. It's obvious that something happened with the shipper.
Yeah.
But the fact that I ordered it on November 3rd and it
jeez.
didn't ship till Wednesday, and then it got lost, really pisses me off. When it's an Amazon Choice item and listed on Amazon Prime, which
Yeah,
which is
that's strange.
$120 a year. This is not a free service that they're offering, and they're offering free. And now here's the only useful part about Amazon Prime was at Christmas you could order something last minute, it'll show up in 2 days, and now they're offering that service for free for everybody anyway. So
Yeah,
what the hell's
because
the point?
they have to compete with the
Well,
Walmart.
because Walmart's kicking their ass on the
Yep,
shipping. Walmart
yep.
is shipping every product that they sell online in 3 days at no cost.
Yep.
They are kicking Amazon's ass when it comes to shipping.
Absolutely.
And they've already got trucks running back and forth from every store in America anyway. So it's super easy for them to deal
I
with.
was
Now you
Thir-
know what the beauty of the justice there is that in the beginning Amazon helped Walmart build up their system.
Yep. And Walmart
that's
now
true.
and now Walmart can flip, and now Walmart really is in a position to flip the tide because
Yep,
there are
they-
Walmart stores everywhere.
They adjusted. They adjusted and they figured out how to do it. But Thursday, I was getting ready. Yesterday was the local Veterans Day parade and ceremonies. And by the way, today is Veterans Day, and I hope all the veterans you go and thank them. But
Absolutely.
I wanted to get an American flag that will not fray when it's at the top of the antenna on the Jeep. So I said, I need to order another because all the ones that I have here are those nylons that are printed. And they're okay, but after a good wind, they start fraying on the edges. And I wanted to, and I always saw them. It doesn't. So I said, I want to buy one that's not made out of nylon. So I found a couple, and
Made
a
out
few
of
of them
what?
made out of polyester and embroidered
okay.
stars and sawn stripes and all that. But remember, this is Thursday, and I need it by Saturday. So I needed to get it by Friday. I found some that you can order next day. And I added them to the cart to compare them at the end. And at the very end, I looked at it and I said, I can pay. And these were not cheap ones. But I said, I can order them all and they probably will not get it. There's a good chance that they will not get here the next day. They're just going to say, oh, we'll give you the money back or whatever. So I said, no, I canceled the whole thing because of that. Because I knew it's never. I went ahead and I put a new flag on the pole and went with that, and it's fine. Got home, there was no fraying. So if Amazon was consistent in shipping next day, and yeah, you pay more, it's fine. but you knew that it's going to go, I would have done it. But because you see that so many of their orders are getting lost, and it's 2 days, but it's been delayed. It'll be here tomorrow. I said, no, I'm not going to pay it.
I'll tell you what,
Forget it.
frankly, at this point, I have almost gotten to the point where, unless it's an odd item like headphone alligator clips, I just go to Walmart by default now. I don't even look on Amazon. I mean, between
Yeah.
Walmart, Target, what's another
There's a bunch of
Lowe's and Home Depot, between like those 4 like big box stores. I was gonna say Best Buy, but the Best Buy here still hasn't opened since the hurricane. But Best Buy, between all those stores, I mean,
you can buy it
unless
locally.
it's an odd item, you can probably buy it.
Yep. I agree 100%.
Walmart sells coffins online.
Are you serious?
You can order it. You can order your coffin. Check it out.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna order the cheapest price for the same made in USA. Whatever, and I don't care if I get it in another 2 weeks on eBay or wherever. But I'll have it for next time. So it's too bad that Alan is saying that Costco sells them too. Spence.
Oh yeah,
Yes, they do.
Costco. I forgot about those.
Yeah, I heard they're going to have a display in the store. You can try it out.
Interesting.
So I just got my refund. That was easy. Open up the chat.
Okay.
I
All right.
said I wanted a refund.
Yeah.
So I mean, their support is good, but when what you just described, Amnon, is doubt. When you are now doubting the reliability of the I mean, frankly, the only thing Amazon was known for was crazy products that they sell, but how quickly you could get it. I mean, I've had some good experiences with them, specifically out in Seattle. I needed to get a battery charger for a camera when I was out at PAX, and I was able to order something to an Amazon locker next day. Worked fine. But there was absolutely a sense of doubt in my mind, and I was very nervous that I wouldn't have a chance, and it would have really screwed up my plans. So I'm being now told that they will make sure that I will not face any such situations again in the future. And if they're I've been asked if I have any other queries to make today. I feel like I'm talking to a robot.
Well, it's a shame, but that's the way things are. At least, the good thing about it is we have choices. If we didn't have a choice, we'd be in trouble.
I'm trying to think of what else I needed a little space heater for
I don't have one of them. I don't have one of them.
I need a little space heater. And
how big a space, Nick? Like
I need a little space heater for my office, and I didn't even look at Amazon. I just went right over to Walmart, and it was like $14 or something for a tiny little space heater. And I mean, it was done. I'm sure Amazon sells one that's cheaper. I just don't want to deal with the BS.
Yeah.
It's just easier to drive 10 minutes to Walmart.
You do realize we're all complaining about 2-day shipping not always working.
Yes, we are. But again, but Amazon has set such a precedent that that's what their bane of their existence is, their 2-day shipping.
But that's the thing, right? Is they introduce something that is completely new. Nobody is even trying to compete with them. Not really, right? Nobody is offering anything like that.
Well, I mean,
Walmart Walmart isn't offering 2-day shipping on everything.
No, I don't know.
Right.
They offer 3-day shipping on every product that they sell online.
There's a lot of products that they offer it, right? They say $50 and above or something like that, right? I know.
No.
But the thing is that nobody's expecting Walmart to provide 2-day shipping. And so when they don't mess it up, and it is exactly 2-day shipping, everybody's happy. The opposite has happened with Amazon, right? Amazon is probably fulfilling, and I'm guessing here because I've never seen the stats and I don't know if they exist publicly, right? But I'm guessing that Amazon is fulfilling to do the 2-day shipping a lot more than anything else. But everybody has come to expect that this is the only way it should work. And now if there are hiccups in the system, right? People are all in arms. They're saying this cannot be.
But hold on a second. I talk about this every week on my video game podcast. And I say Amazon has set their own expectation.
Oh,
And they need to now deal with it, because here they have set their own expectation. The industry did not say everything needs to come in 2 days. They started charging people $99 a year and said pretty much anything you order on our website will be at your door in 2 days. And for the first 3 years of that, that was the case. Every time you ordered something, it was there in 2 days. But over the last 2.5 years or so, they just can't seem to. I mean, what's our group here? A group of with the chat combined, maybe a group of 30 or 40 people that are active here every week in the chat. I mean, everybody's got problems with Amazon. This isn't just one-off people. I mean, since I've moved down to North Carolina, I've been down here a year and a half. I've had probably a dozen issues with things on Amazon. I never had those problems before.
I remember you talking about it a year ago.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Things are not going right.
Yeah, I mean, it's real. It's
But this is their own freaking fault. I don't have any sympathy for them. They set up this stupid expectation and have been charging me for it, and now they're not fulfilling it. So you're absolutely right. I'm going to be pissed off about
it. Used to be I shopped other places, got a model number, and plugged it into Amazon to see what the deal was.
Mm-hmm.
Now I find things on Amazon, and I search other places.
You go to find it in store because it's just easier.
Yeah, depending on, especially auto parts, or just Amazon does not have the best deals for auto parts. So I find that I can find stuff there, and I use all the retailers to my advantage now.
That's the way you should do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's a geographical thing too. Like in Raleigh, there's a lot more stores available to go and pick things up than there is, for example, down in Wilmington. So it also
do they have electricity in Wilmington yet?
They do have electricity in Wilmington, but there's only one Target down in Wilmington. I'm sure there's probably 4 or 5 within probably 40 minutes of 50 minutes of use, Spence. So
there's 2. There's one close by and one within 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's when I was up in Albany, it was the same way. There was probably 3 or 4 targets I could get to within, 45 minutes of any direction. Down here in Wilmington, it's 150,000 people in the metro per se. So there's 2 Walmarts. There's only one Best Buy, and it's literally their whole roof cap collapsed during the hurricane. They're not open. So there's not a place I can go to buy stuff from Best Buy. It's not available. And I don't even know if they'll be open by Black Friday.
Alan has a very good point. He makes it in the chat. He says, why does this progress in efficiency, which they are all the time claiming that they are having more and more efficient, cause the wait time to be longer? Well, absolutely. You're getting all these robots now to do it, and you have machines that are more, quote unquote, oiled to do all this, and it's taking longer. Why? Very good point, Alan.
Well, you've got more people, and Arnie is, saying it's the Postal Service that's losing these things, and it's the transfer, and absolutely, it's not. The blame is not all on Amazon.
No, it's not. But it doesn't matter.
But you're right. It doesn't matter. I order my product from Amazon, not the Postal. When I go to the Postal Service and ship something direct, if it doesn't come on time or do whatever, now I'm pissed off at the Postal Service. I'm not pissed off at Amazon.
For the last 2 or 3 weeks, stuff that I ordered on Amazon is coming delivered to the house by Amazon vans. Yeah,
well, so that's because they've got that up there. Well, there's going to potentially be a big problem coming up. UPS workers are apparently getting ready to go on strike, which is going to screw all of us come December or middle November. I read an article about that. So.
If it didn't, they wouldn't go on strike.
Yeah, so just be aware that if you're going to be ordering something last minute, give yourself some days. If these people go on strike, there's going to be a serious problem. Hey, maybe I can go pick up another job. They'll probably pay you $19 an hour to drive a truck not unionized. Go drive a truck for 20 hours a week, make some money.
All right. It's that time of day and past.
Oh, we're late. Alert the affiliates.
And I need to run out. I'm going shooting today.
Oh, gee.
Shooting?
Sorry. Shooting. I'm not shooting anybody.
No, I need
targets.
No, but I need to go to the range.
Well, All right. Anything else? Anybody wants to talk about? Going once? Going twice? Guess not. All right. So thanks, Spence, Gal, Nick. Nick, I was going to say Ron. Jeez.
Fine, Amnon. Fine, Kathy. Whatever you say.
Okay. And good morning, everybody. Again, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tonight at 7, Nick Craig hosts Against the Norm, right?
We'll be there.
Yep. On Wilmington's Big Talker 106.7, you can listen on TuneIn. And if you don't have the link and you're getting frustrated finding it, it's right up there on the left under links in the menu. See you next week, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.